Welcome to Filmwar. Let's cut the shit. This is a movie trivia game show podcast, whatever. So every second not spent playing movie games is a second wasted. Our only rule, you may not say the word Goonies aloud at any point. If you do, all of your points will be reset to 0. And I mean all of your points, even your season points, not just the points you earned tonight. Tonight we have Matt, a newcomer. Tonight we have George. Tonight we have Dalton. Tonight we have Kris. They'll be competing for a copy of Ocean's 11 on VHS.
Hey.
In addition, we have two special guests tonight, the two men that currently sit atop the leaderboard in first and second place, Jordan and Kyle. They'll be helping out a little bit tonight, but not much. If I know anything about those two, you won't even know they're here. Matt, you're new to the show. Are you ready to win Ocean's 11 on VHS?
I am. I told these guys earlier, like, I'm swinging for the fences. I'm either getting first or last. That's my goal.
Okay, yeah, go for it. Either way, right?
This game is called Calendar Feud.
This is Calendar Feud. I will name a year and 3 films that came out in that year. You will guess which film has the highest average rating according to the users on Letterboxd.com. If you choose correctly, you will earn a point. Our first year is 1977, and the 3 films are Close Encounters of the Third Kind, Annie Hall, and Slapshot. One of these films has a higher average rating according to the users on Letterboxd.com. Which one is that, Dalton?
Oh... I would go with Close Encounters.
Dalton's saying Close Encounters. George, what do you say?
I will also go Close Encounters.
2 for Close Encounters. Kris, what do you think? You going to join these men in their Close Encounters?
I'm going to go Close Encounters as well.
3 for Close Encounters. Matt, you're a newcomer. I just want you to know you don't have to go with them.
You know what? I was going to go Close Encounters, but like I said, I'm swinging for the fences here. Everyone else is going that route. I'm going Annie Hall.
All right.
Now we're going to stare at you, Matt.
Dalton, George, and Kris are all going to judge Matt for choosing Annie Hall while they've chosen Close Encounters. But you know what? It just got him a point because Annie Hall has 4 stars on Letterboxd.com.
Right. Strong start.
Close Encounters only have 3.8. And Slapshot only has 3.6 stars, according to users on Letterboxd.com. So Matt's on the board. No one else is yet. Fences are going so well so far, Matt. All right, our next year on Calendar Feud is 1987, the year of my birth. The 3 films are Adventures in Babysitting, Mannequin, and Some Kind of Wonderful. All teen-based in nature, I'd say. Maybe not Mannequin so much, but... Okay, let's start with Matt. You got the first one right. What about this one? Which one has the highest average rating according to the users on Letterboxd.com?
I've never seen any of these 3 movies, which, yeah. So I'm just going to guess. I'm going to go with Some Kind of Wonderful.
Matt saying Some Kind of Wonderful. You're not missing much. I love Adventures in Babysitting, but I think just because I watched it so much as a kid, it's a good movie. All right, Matt saying Some Kind of Wonderful. Kris, what are you saying?
Of the 3, actually I've seen 2 of the 3, but I think I'm going to go with Some Kind of Wonderful as well.
2 for Some Kind of Wonderful. A lot of train riding going on early. George, what do you think?
I'll go with Mannequin.
George is saying Mannequin is the highest average rating according to users on Letterboxd.com. Dalton, last choice to you.
Oh, part of me wants to go Some Kind of Wonderful, but I also think that there's a chance it's Adventures in Babysitting, so I'm going to go with that one.
Dalton saying Adventures in Babysitting. George said Mannequin. Kris and Matt are saying Some Kind of Wonderful. And the answer is Adventures in Babysitting. 3.4 stars according to users on Letterboxd.com. Dalton gets a point. 2.9 for Mannequin and 3.3 for Some Kind of Wonderful. Only one person gets a point for these first 2 questions. We're on to our 3rd year, and that year is 1997. I'm really good in decades, 77, 87, 97. 3 films from 1997 are Titanic, Boogie Nights, and Jackie Brown. All surely to be very high ratings, according to these on Letterboxd.com. Which one has the highest? Dalton, let's go with you.
Oh, wow, that's a tough one.
It is. It's tough these days.
I'm going to go with Titanic.
Dalton saying Titanic. George, what do you think?
Yeah, this one's tough. I'll go Boogie Nights.
George is saying Boogie Nights. Is that going, is it your personal choice as well? Like if you had to rank these 3?
Yeah, probably. But also just kind of trying to I don't know, trying to just think how would that be scored right? I don't know. This is hard. This is a tough one here.
Yeah, it is. It is. Kris, what do you think?
Yeah, I wanted to go with one of the others to have a little, try to have a bit of sophistication with the choices, but Titanic is probably top on those.
Kris is agreeing with Dalton, saying Titanic. All right, Matt, what do you think?
Well, I definitely think Titanic was probably the number one movie as far as, gross. But I'm going to go with Boogie Nights. I don't think it would be Jackie Brown. I don't think Jackie Brown was his best work. I'm going to go with Boogie Nights.
All right. Matt is agreeing with Jordan, saying Boogie Nights. Kris and Dalton are both saying Titanic. I just watched Jackie Brown in 4K. It just came out recently. It is tremendous. If you get a chance, you should watch it. The answer is Boogie Nights. Matt and George both get a point. 3.8 stars for Titanic, 3.9 for Jackie Brown. George and Matt both get a point. All right, that is the end of Calendar Feud. Matt's in the lead with 2 points. George and Dalton both have 1.
And I'm a big loser.
Yeah, Kris unfortunately has 0 as of now.
This game is called Stat Check.
This is Stat Check. We'll be discussing an element of a film that has a numeric value. I'll be setting a betting line, and you will guess if the true number is above or below that set number. These are going to be tough tonight. We're going to keep with the PTA theme. The first Stat Check is the number of hours of television that Jimmy Gator is celebrating in Magnolia. I'm setting that betting line at 7,000 hours. They're saying, like, hey, he's celebrating this many hours of television. What is that true number? Is it above or below 7,000 hours, Dalton?
Oh, I have no clue. I'm going to say above.
Dalton saying higher. George, what do you say?
I'll say higher.
George also saying higher than 7,000 hours. Kris, what do you think?
I'm gonna go with higher.
Higher across the board. Matt, you agreeing with this gentleman?
I was going to go higher, but everyone else is doing that, so I'm going lower.
All right, Matt's going lower. Everyone else is saying it's more than 7,000 hours that Jimmy Gator is celebrating in Magnolia, and the true answer is 12,000 hours. So it is over.
Finally, 1 point.
Dalton, George, and Kris all get a point.
I'm not pointless anymore.
Yeah, Kris finally on the board. Okay, that might be the more difficult of the stat checks. Our next stat check is the combined final score of the final game in Varsity Blues, 1999. I have combined that score, and I'm saying it's at 30. Do you think it's above or below 30, Matt? Combined score. This is both teams added together.
I think it's higher.
Matt's saying it's higher than 30. Kris, what do you say?
I'm gonna go with higher.
Kris is all saying higher. George, what do you think? Think he scored a lot of points in that game? Have you seen the film?
Yeah, man, I've seen it.
It's triumphant,
I'm gonna go
right?
with lower. I don't really know, but I'll be different. We'll go lower.
George is saying it was a defensive effort that game. He's saying lower. Dalton, what do you think?
I'm gonna go higher.
Dalton agreeing with Kris and Matt and saying higher. And the combined final score for the final game of Varsity Blues was 37. So it was higher. Dalton, Kris, and Matt all get a point. It was 20-17. The Coyotes winning. All right, for our next stat check, surely in Jurassic Park, there's a lot of dinosaurs in that film, right? But how much screen time do they actually take up of the film? I'm saying this is about 10 minutes of dino time in Jurassic Park. Do you think it's higher or lower than that, Dalton?
You're just talking any time the dinosaurs on screen.
Anytime that they're on screen, any second.
Ooh. God, that's tough because I feel like it's probably right around that number. I don't know.
That's how I usually set these up.
I'm gonna go lower.
Dalton's saying lower. What do you think, George?
I feel the same way. I think it feels like there should be like it's a big number, but it's probably actually not that much. I'll go lower.
If you think George is saying lower as well. If you think of even John Hammond in that film, he's a big part of that film. How much time is he actually on screen? Probably more than the dinosaurs, right? George is saying lower. Dalton's saying lower as well. Kris, what do you think?
I'm gonna go with higher. I was kind of playing it through my head, and I think it's higher.
Kris is saying there's more than 10 minutes of dinosaur footage in Jurassic Park. And Matt, what do you think?
Oh, man, that's tough. I was thinking about the fact that it came out like 93 and CGI and everything, but they actually did a lot of that practically with I was thinking with CGI, it'd probably take forever to try to render those dinosaurs, but I'm going to go higher. I'm going to say it was a little higher than 10 minutes.
Matt's agreeing with Kris saying higher, George and Dalton saying lower, and the true answer is 15 full minutes of dinosaur time in Jurassic Park. Kris and Matt both get a point. Kris didn't get 8 points in the first game, has not lost a point this round.
That's right.
All right, we have one last stat check, and this is a real fun one. How much has been spent to rescue Matt Damon in all of his films? I'm setting that number at $500 billion. Now, this was estimated by a writer online, and that is the number that we are guessing for. Over, under $500 billion. What do you think, Matt?
Can I ask before we vote here, do you have the list of films that were counted?
I do. It is on the very next page.
Does Interstellar count in that list?
Interstellar is on that list.
Okay. I'm going to put the number higher.
All right, Matt's saying it's more than $500 billion to rescue Matt Damon. Kris, what do you think?
You know, even with Interstellar on the list, I'm still going to say it's a little lower because that's a lot of money.
Kris is saying lower. It is an ungodly amount of money. $500 billion to rescue one man. Kris saying lower. George, what do you think?
I'll go higher.
George is saying higher. Agreeing with Matt. Dalton, what do you think?
Oh. I'm going to go lower.
Dalton
$500
saying
billion is a lot.
$500 billion is a lot. Dalton is agreeing with Kris, is saying lower than $500 billion to rescue Matt Damon. And the true answer is $900 billion estimated. George and Matt both get a point. So yeah, they say a chopper rescue for Courage Under Fire would cost about $300K. Saving Private Ryan, a search party in World War II, would be $100K. $200 billion in Titan AE. I mean, fuck, that's almost the half of the $500 billion right there. $50,000 for Syriana, $50,000 for Green Zone, $100 million for Elysium, $500 billion for Interstellar. I mean, that is
Wow.
I'm glad at least somebody touched on that before we really started guessing, because that's the whole number really. And then The Martian was about $200 billion, so about $900 billion to rescue Matt Damon. Most of it in space, seems to be.
Right, so $500 billion just to go to Mars, but only $200 billion to evacuate like the entire planet Earth.
Yep.
Inflation.
It was an animated movie.
There you go.
Okay, at the end of Stat Check, we have a tie for last place. Matt has 5 points, is in the lead. All three of our other contestants have 3 points.
Just because you're new, Matt, we're taking it easy on you.
Don't take it easy on him. Make it as hard as it can be on him. Make him not want to ever come back, just like everybody else.
Okay, we hate you, Matt. You suck.
All right, that's too far.
I've heard worse.
What?
This game is called Meetings and Failures in Meetings.
I will name a film and 3 titles that a film was released under in foreign markets. Only one is real. Figure out the correct one and get a point. Our first Meetings is Moneyball from 2011. Anybody seen it? Strong thoughts on it? I like it.
It's good.
All right, good is the word you hear from this show. Here are 3 titles for you. Stars for Sale from Thailand, Money Wins from Germany, and The Formula for Success from Estonia. One of these was the title it was released under in that country. The others are bullshit. Which one is the real one, Dalton?
Having not seen the movie and not knowing much about it.
So it's a little money and it's a little ball.
Wow.
All right. I think I got a better idea about it now.
Good.
I'm going to go. I'll go with The Formula for Success, maybe. In Estonia.
Dalton is saying The Formula for
plausible.
Success is the correct title in Estonia. George, what do you think?
I want to agree with that. Knowing what the movie's like about, like the money and the ball, but like,
right, yeah.
Man, I'm gonna go with Money Wins.
George is saying Money Wins from Germany is the correct title. Kris, what do you think?
I'm also gonna go with Money Wins.
Agreeing with George, Money Wins from Germany. All right, Matt, this is your very first meetings on the show. Which way are you thinking?
Huge Sorkin fan, by the way. I'm going to go with The Formula for Success.
He's agreeing with Dalton, saying The Formula for Success. Remember, big swings, right? This is perfect, right? There's a lot of big swings in baseball. It worked out for you. You get a point. The Formula for Success was the correct title from Estonia. Money Wins and Stars for Sale were made up by me. Both Matt and Dalton get a point. Our next Meetings and Failure Meetings is from 2001. It is tonight's tape, Ocean's 11. Here are 3 titles that it may have been released under in overseas markets. The first is Fancy Heist from China, Play Your Game from Slovenia, and Thieves in the Vault from Egypt. One of these is correct, the others are not. Which is the correct one, Matt?
Oh man, I'm kind of shocked none of them have the number 11 in it. All right, I'm gonna go with Play Your Game.
Matt is saying Play Your Game is the correct title. Kris, what do you think?
I like Fancy Heist.
Don't we all? Kris is saying Fancy Heist is the correct title in China. George, what do you think?
Yeah, I'll go with Play Your Game.
George is saying Play Your Game is the correct title. And Dalton, last pick for you.
I'm going with Fancy Heist too.
Dalton is agreeing with Kris and going Fancy Heist from China.
Shay's already laughing.
Dalton and Kris saying Fancy Heist. George and Matt saying Play Your Game. And the correct answer is Play Your Game from Slovenia. George and Matt both get a point. Matt's cleaning up here so far.
Not kidding.
I'm lucking out, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Can you take it 3 for 3 in meetings and failures? Here's the last meetings, and it's from 1997. Wag the Dog, a personal favorite of mine. Here are 3 titles for you: Men of Influence from France, Lights, Camera, Armageddon from Italy, and World Sabotage from the Czech Republic. Start with Dalton. Which one of these is the correct title for Wag the Dog? Have you seen it? Do you know what it's about? That might help you.
No. I'm getting a little bit from the poster there, though, so I'm going to go with, let's go with Men of Influence.
Dalton is saying Men of Influence is the correct title. George, what do you think?
I'm going to go with Lights, Camera, Armageddon. I like that one.
George saying Lights, Camera, Armageddon is the correct title for Wag the Dog. Kris, what do you think?
Well, it's a tough one because I liked World Sabotage, but you mentioned the picture might give something. I know it's about only because I remember the trailers from years ago, but I'm going to stick with it. I like World Sabotage.
Kris saying World Sabotage is the correct title. All right, Matt, Can You Take It Home? Which is the correct title?
Believe it or not, I've never seen this one. I'm going to go with Lights, Camera, Armageddon.
Matt saying Lights, Camera, Armageddon, agreeing with George. Kris is saying World Sabotage, and Dalton is saying Men of Influence. And the correct title is Men of Influence from France. Dalton gets another point.
That was my first choice, but I decided it wasn't that one.
Chris, what have we talked about on
Go
this show?
I know.
Always follow your heart.
Yes.
All right, at the end of meetings and failures and meetings, Matt's still in the lead, 7 points. Dalton has 5, George has 4, and Kris has 3. Getting close to the end of the game here, guys, so let's step it up.
This game is called Old Movie New Title.
This is Old Movie New Title. I don't think anyone on this dais has played this game before, so I will name a film, an old movie, and you will come up with a completely brand new title for it. Tonight, Jordan and Kyle will also vote along with me to determine who gets 3 points each round.
The 2 that aren't here.
They aren't here. All right, well, we'll get to it. I guess it's just Jordan's back, at least.
I'm still listening. I'm sorry.
Right,
when I thought the game wasn't happening, we ordered some food. I still hear you.
No, you're good. You're good. You might have to pull out some points here. We're playing Old Movie New Title. They're going to get an old movie, and they got to craft a new title for it. Our first old movie, My Cousin Vinny, from 1992. All right, Dalton, I'm going to put you in the hot seat first. What would your title be for My Cousin Vinny? If you don't know what it is, you're going to have to go by the poster.
Oh, let's go with Italian Lawyer Man.
Italian Lawyer Man, Dalton is going to call it. All right, George, what do you think?
Are those pews in that shot? I don't even know. I can't even hardly see it. Is that what that is?
It's a court. I'll give you a court. It's set in a court.
Okay. Can it be?
This is your game, baby.
Written. Let's just go with Family Pew.
Family Pew.
Yeah, I wanted to pick another word, but that's probably copywritten. So.
Yeah. Well, I don't give a shit. You can say whatever.
Family. I was going to say Family Feud.
Family Feud. All right. George is saying Family Feud. Kris, what do you think? What are you going to call this movie?
The Italian Council.
The Italian Council, Kris is calling it. And Matt.
I was going to go with My Italian Aunt's Child, Vincent.
Okay. My Italian Aunt's Child, Vincent. It's a good one. All right, Jordan, it's just me and you here, so we're each going to give one of these points. We each have a point. We're going to give it away here. So who are you going to give your point to? We've got Dalton's Italian Lawyer Man. We've got George's Family Feud. We've got Chris's Italian Counsel. And we've got Matt's My Italian Aunt's Child Vincent.
I mean, I think Matt's is the one that made me laugh the most.
I agree with that. Matt gets 2 points. Kyle, you here? Did you hear any of those?
I did.
You want to cast a vote?
I'm going to go with Matt's too. I think that was a good answer.
Matt gets 3 points.
Absurdity wins the day.
Yep. Okay, that was our first old movie new title. Our next one is from 1982, Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Let's start with Matt this time. What are you going to call this one?
I'm going to go with not Star Wars, but written and directed by George Lucas.
Well, not at all right, but yes. Well, okay,
Oh,
that's the title.
am I confusing myself? What movie am I thinking of? That was
That's
George
American
Lucas?
Graffiti.
Oh
yeah.
my god! Well, then that's even worse. Worse name. So I'm sticking with my.
Not
Oh my
Star
gosh.
Wars, but written and directed by George Lucas. All right, someone, I'm not even going to write that out. Someone remind me of that when we come up to it. Okay, Chris, what do you think? What are you going to call
You're
it?
on me already. Oh gosh. Stylin' High.
Stylin' High. Yeah, all right. And George, what do you think?
Quicker Than Usual School.
Quicker Than Usual School. George is figuring out how this game is played. All right.
Yeah,
Dalton,
I'm starting
what
to
do you
get the hang of it now, I think. Not that it was good, but...
I'm trying to be clever, and everyone else is just throwing just whatever.
Yep. All right, Dalton, what do you think?
I'm going to go with that one scene with Phoebe Cates.
That one scene with Phoebe Cates. The only thing anybody ever really cares about. All right, so we've got not Star Wars, but still written and directed by George Lucas from Matt. We've got Stylin' High from Chris. We've got Quicker Than Usual School from George. And we've got that one scene with Phoebe Cates from Dalton. Jordan, who are you going to give your point to?
I've never seen it, so I thought that Dalton's answer was the one that spoke to me as someone who knows one thing about that movie.
I think it's going just by the title.
Yeah, Dalton knew his audience, and Jordan is giving a point for it. All right, Kyle, what do you think? Who's getting your point?
I'm going to go with George's answer.
Okay, I'm going to go with Chris's answer.
Oh, thank you.
So everybody but Matt gets a point that time.
That's okay. I did not deserve a point, so I completely confused that with American Graffiti.
If you had course corrected and gone with just said American Graffiti, I think I would have given you my point for that one. You just called this.
It was the funniest answer.
Yeah, modern American Graffiti. Okay, we have one last old movie new title, and it is from 1993, Super Mario Brothers. Of course, a film that everyone loves. Let's start with George. What are you going to call it?
Oh, God. Plumber's Life.
Plumber's Life, George says. Chris, what do you think?
I'm going to call it Those Are Goombas?
Those Are Goombas. By Chris.
Well, it's got to have the question and the exclamation.
Okay, so it has to have those. All right, I got it. All right, Matt, what do you think?
Yeah.
Well, I think I'm going to
This
call
was
it
not
Luigi
created by
because-
George Clooney. Or,
Well,
by George Lucas.
Yes, I know. I think I'm going to call it Luigi because the name's very popular lately. So.
Oh.
Let's thread these next few minutes very delicately, gentlemen. All right, Dalton, what do you think?
I'm going to go with What the Fuck Were You Thinking, Bob Hoskins?
The fuck were you thinking, Bob Hoskins? Okay, we've got Plumber's Life from George. Those Are Goombas? With an exclamation point and a question mark by Chris. Got just Luigi from Matt. And Dalton saying, what the fuck were you thinking, Bob Hoskins? All right, Kyle, who are you going to give your point to?
Those Goombas were real memorable, so I'm going to go with Chris's answer.
Okay, Kyle's giving Chris a point. Jordan, what do you think?
I always liked to play as Luigi when I played Super Mario Brothers 3. So I'm gonna go with Matt.
Jordan has outed himself as a leftist and given his point to Matt. I'm also going to give my point to Matt because I'm also a bleeding heart liberal. Matt gets 2 points. Chris gets 1.
All right. Still in last place.
All right, at the end of old movie, new title, Matt has 12 points. Dalton has 6. George has 5. Kris has 5. Unfortunately, Matt has mathed you guys out of the race for the tape. So Matt is going to go home with the tape tonight. But we do have one more game to play.
Go, Matt.
Yeah, dominated.
This game is called Bastards.
This is our last game for tonight, and it doesn't mean anything, which means it'll go better than the last time we played it because that show didn't even have a winner. Jordan and Kyle have each chosen a secret, well-known movie character. You will have 3 minutes to ask them as many yes or no questions as you need in order to determine their identity. You only get one guess, so keep who you think it is from the other contestants. I will ask you individually for your answers. If no one can guess their character correctly, they will add 3 points of their own to their total. We're going to start with Kyle. Kyle, you have embodied a movie character.
Go ahead.
George, Kris, Dalton, and Matt, you can now ask Kyle questions for the next 3 minutes to try to determine who his identity is. Do not say out loud who you think it is. I'm going to ask you at the end. So ask any yes or no questions you want to try to figure out who Kyle's supposed to be.
Have you ever murdered anyone?
No.
Are you a male?
I am.
Do you have all of your appendages?
Yes.
Good question.
Do you use a weapon?
Yes. When I need to.
Are you a villain?
No.
Are you in space?
I am not.
Are you a hero?
Yeah, I'd say I am, for myself at least.
Are you?
Are you middle-aged?
Yes.
I think it was asked if you were human. Are you human?
Yes. Human.
All right, that's about halfway through the time, guys, so better ask now.
Are you a cop?
No.
Do you like to eat? Do you eat
Yeah,
often?
I guess.
When you have to
Yes.
use a weapon, is it kinetic or is it like say a blade or something?
Well, I'd say it's whatever I can find when it goes down.
That's a good answer.
When it goes down, are you fighting a lot?
Yeah, well, I guess more than the average person, yeah.
Do you know martial arts?
No.
Are you modern?
No.
All right, we're running out of time here.
Uh-huh.
Okay, all right, that's time, guys. So does anyone have a realistic idea of who it is? Raise your hand if you think you know who it is.
I have a guess.
All right, Matt, go ahead and guess.
Are you Robin Hood?
No, he's not Robin Hood. Okay, nobody gets any points. Kyle was Andy Dufresne from Shawshank Redemption. So you have to ask more like pointed questions, I feel, to try to you have to be able to hit, at least for this character, you have to get to the prison to be able to kind of figure out who it is.
Yeah.
So
Andy Dufresne
luckily,
used weapons?
he used weapons.
I think he used some
used
sort
that
of,
bleach powder. Use that bleach
yeah,
powder to
and
stop
he
that
also-
man from
Didn't
raping
he
him.
use a rake to fight off the sisters? Or
Yeah, yep.
Wow.
Well, how you define a weapon? He dug that hole with something.
So Kyle has added 3 points to his season total here tonight. We have one more bastard to go, and ask Jordan. Jordan, I'm just gonna let you go. You guys now have 3 minutes to ask Jordan as many yes or no questions as you can to determine his identity. If you can guess correctly after those 3 minutes, you will add 3 more points to your season total.
Are you human?
I can appear human.
Are you in a sci-fi movie?
I suppose it's a sci-fi movie.
Yes.
I mean,
he is.
technically, it is a sci-fi
Yes,
movie.
He is in
Is it a
sci-fi
comic
movie.
book movie?
I know.
Are you animated?
There are probably appearances where this character is probably CGI. I'm going to
No.
guess, but
Yeah, just say
not
no.
in the movie
No.
that I am thinking. Not in the original.
Man, I'm sure glad that someone won the game before we got to this one. We're already off the rails here.
Did your movie come out in the last 10 years?
No.
Do you fight?
Oh, yes.
But you're not a comic book movie character.
No.
Are you a shapeshifter?
Yeah, I think arguably yes. Yeah. I mean, it's a little unclear, but I would say that yes to some degree.
Got about a minute left.
Are you a protagonist?
No.
Are you the villain?
Villain is a stronger word than I think I would use, personally, based on what is known in the film. I am an antagonist. I'll tell you that.
All right, everybody, get a last question in.
Are you a cop? Did we ask that?
Not a cop.
Okay, that's the end of it. Okay, does anyone have a reasonable idea of who they think they... Does anybody have a reasonable idea of who this person is? Raise your hand.
I have a guess again, but then what
does
Jordan
anybody else have?
Does
anybody else have a guess besides Matt?
I don't have a clue.
All right, Matt, guess.
I'm not good at this.
My guess was going to be the Terminator.
That's what I was going to say, yeah.
No, he is not the Terminator.
Not
Jordan was
shapeshifter.
portraying...
Solid guess. I mean, yeah, solid guess. Based
Jordan
on
was
known
portraying The
information.
Thing from the movie The Thing from 1982.
Okay.
What the?
Okay.
Yeah, if you haven't seen that movie, it's
Never
probably even
seen
weirder
that
now.
movie.
Like I said, glad that Matt won the game before we got to this one.
You know, as far as we know, the Thing is an animal trying to survive. I don't know if it's a villain.
Right, it is. It's an animal. It's a life form. Jordan gets 3 points for no one being able to figure out who he is. He has 3 points added to his season total. That's all from Filmwar. We have a new champion, the second first-time champion in a row. Dalton won last time. Matt wins this time. All hail Matt. He is taking home a copy of Ocean's 11 on VHS with a score of 12.
It's not a bad movie this time either. Yay, Matt!
Yeah, no, it's a good one. Dalton had 6. George had 5. Chris had 5. Let's take a look at the season leaderboard. Jordan and Kyle still on top. Chris, Dalton, George all rising in the ranks. Matt is now on the boards, already up a couple of spaces on a few of the other contestants. Follow us on Bluesky at Filmwar and TikTok and Instagram at the Filmwar Pod. View our full video episodes at youtube.com/@Filmwar or at thefilmwar.com. Rate us, share us, kiss us, thrill us. We'll be back in 2 weeks with a very special SNL-themed episode celebrating its significance on the film industry or lack thereof. Until then, any last words, gentlemen? Nothing?
Apparently,
no last words? Thank you.
Last words, George Lucas, if anybody didn't know, is not the director.
I'll keep that in mind.
If there's 2 things you learn from this show, follow your heart. George Lucas did not write and direct Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
There you go.
Godspeed.
Filmwar, a 1,000-yard stare production.